So welcome back to my mobility scooters adventures. This series will follow the River Maun from Lawn Pleasure Grounds through Mansfield and out towards Clipstone. This is episode 1, Lawn Pleasure Grounds. So we'll go along this road, a little known road in Mansfield, a very nice, quiet, posh road. And we're heading up towards the Mansfield Kingston Viaduct, the oldest viaduct in England that used to carry the Mansfield to Kingston Railway, which was actually horse-drawn. And there I am, crossing the bridge now, exactly where the tracks would have been, where it is greyed out. So I'm going to take a right and a left, and that will take me round the side of Kingsmill Reservoir. And on my right, there is Kingsmill Hospital. There is the 3 towers of the new Kingsmill. And we continue on via the ring road around the water. And there is some nice wooden artwork that has been put in 2025 around the lake. Very tactile. And this is the launch pontoon for the Mill Adventure base run by Nottinghamshire's Youth Service. And on our left, there we go, there's the Mill Cafeteria. Feel free to pop in for a warm drink and a look around the information centre. So we'll continue on. There is the new boat building for Sutton Sailing Club. It's got a bar in, conference rooms and a few other facilities, built in 2024. So we're continuing on around this well-made road, probably the smoothest road in Mansfield. So just coming up to this left turn, that takes us underneath the bridge that carries the Mar route, just off the A38 in Mansfield. And we're going to take a look at some of this artwork and tags underneath the bridge. Very nice indeed. And if you're the owner of one of these tags, please leave a comment and tells us what your tag represents. So we continue on this original access road to Kingsmill Reservoir. This was the access road before the building of the new A38. And back then, yes, you could drive the entire ring road around the reservoir. So we are just approaching the A38 and this major junction. Extreme care is advised as there is no green man to tell you when to cross this road. So we continue on this road towards Sutton, where we need to take a left turn to access the leisure park. It is a very narrow road, so extreme care is advised, and I have sped up the footage. My scooter doesn't go this quick. So very shortly we'll be taking a right turn, trying to avoid all the potholes on the way. So just coming up on our right now. And then we'll be taking a left. That takes us into Lawn Pleasure Grounds in Sutton, Ashfield, Nottinghamshire. So on the left there is a car park, and you walk up this path and then we're on the side of the lake. There is a children's playground, cafeteria, bowling green, escape park, amongst other things. And you can fish in these waters. So as we take a look at these nice peaceful waters, we can hear the birds, the cuckoos, and currently on a fishing pontoon taking in the beautiful countryside in the middle of one of the smaller towns in Nottinghamshire. So there we go. That is looking out the far side towards the cafeteria, which we'll be going past later. and another view of the lake, and right in the middle of the shot about now is where you're able to go fishing and set up a tent, which we'll be going past later on in this video. So let's get on and explore Lawn Park waters. So, on my way. And the idea of these videos is to show you where you can go on your mobility scooter and to find out how accessible it is. I found this route to be quite accessible, no major problems. Just bear in mind the water on the right. So, yep, it's through that gate. It was nice and easy. Coming towards the camera, and there I go, on my way exploring the water. On our left is the nursing home, a side of the pond here at Lawn Park, and a very old fishing pontoon can be seen, looking very old and very sorry and in poor condition, but takes a nice photo. So onward as we go. We can still hear the birds and the bees and the cuckoos. Very tranquil morning out at the waters. So there we go. Another fishing pontoon that has seen better days. There are plenty of filming opportunities, photography opportunities, and there are birds nesting, so please be careful and respect the birds whilst they are nesting and bringing up their young. So just slowing down for this dog walker, and we'll be taking a right, and there we go, there is the swan that is nesting. So let's try and zoom in and see if we can see the swan a little better. There we go, there she is on her nest. And there we go, looking over the lake, and behind those trees is the A38. The trees are looking very beautiful in early summer. So, looking out for this dog walker, we go down this route. This is probably the most unsafe part going around the reservoir, so do take care, and we'll continue on our journey once the dog walker has moved. The daffodils are out, very nice to look at, but remember, daffodils are poisonous, so don't pick them, especially if you've got young children. And here is another old fishing point, which I do like the look of. They're very photogenic, I do believe. And there we go. As we can see, it makes a very nice photo. And I would continue on my journey exploring the waters here at Lawn Park. As you can see, as I come towards the camera, plenty of room on the path. And just to my left is where we saw the fishermen earlier on in this video. There they are on our left. So you can set up a tent and go fishing for the day. And as we continue on, we can see there are plenty of fishing pontoons on the right. So plenty of opportunities for your individual fishing point if that is your hobby. And as I continue around this lake, you'll see the path is in excellent condition, very wide and a very enjoyable journey. Full of plenty of nature, seeing a cuckoo, swans, a heron, squirrels. I even saw a wild rabbit. I'm just coming up to another dilapidated fishing pontoon. As I say, I found them very interesting, a great opportunity for rural photography. And there we go, looking straight over towards our start point, where those two tall trees are. So as we continue on, we're about halfway around the lake now, making good time. And as you can see, well worth a visit to Lawn Park. So we're just going down this part. This is where it gets quite bumpy and care is needed around this part. About 200 metres or so, where the path does need some slight attention. And once we've gone round this bend, we're back onto a good quality footpath. And a rubbish bin on our right. And there we go, see the two paths. So previously on our left of the picture, there used to be a very old paddling pool that was quite deep, and it had two water fountains in the centre there. A very old 1930s swimming pool, what is long gone due to health and safety, as they have disappeared from many other parks around Mansfield. So it's just there on our right that you can't fish between these 2 points. And as you can see, another mobility scooter user is coming up past me, and plenty of room there. And greetings are exchanged as we do on mobility scooters. And we are approaching the start point for this part of the journey. So looking over again towards the fishing point, there it is. You can still see the two gentlemen fishing. And we continue on our journey. And roughly where the car park was, it used to be like a square castle you could play on. And the way to access it was like an old storage pipe you could go through. There used to be in many of the children's parks back in the day. And death slides, Bobby's helmets, swings, massive slides were all commonplace, along with sand pits and swimming pools. So there we go, back at the start. So let's go back down and take a look at that other route. So I'm speeding up the footage to get back to this other junction. And this takes us to the garden here at Lawn Pleasure Grounds. here is that unsafe again, so like I said, some caution is required. So we just veer off to our right, and there we go, we're going up the path towards the gardens, and this is approximately where the paddling pools were. There were actually 2 stone ones back in the day, and a small one around where the cafe is today. And we're going to use tactile structures here at Lawn Park, as well as around the reservoir at King's Mill. So there I am, admiring the nice gardens at Lawn Pleasure Grounds. Also at Lawn Pleasure Grounds, opportunities to play tennis and bowling. There's also a skate park on site. And in my younger days, when I used to come here with mum and dad, on some mornings the bands used to practice at the bottom end of the grounds. I believe it was the Salvation Army band that used to practice. So today, by chance, the fun fair is in town. It was setting up at time of recording this video. Incidentally, Lawn Park was where the Ashfield show was held over 2 days in August, Saturday and Sunday. Many stalls, many displays. We had bike demonstrations, even Chitty Bang Bang was on show once here. And we're going to take a look next at the bowling green, which is coming up on our left. As you can see, at time of recording, they are cutting the grass and getting it ready for summer use. This has been here as long as I can remember. And further on down the paths, we have got the tennis courts and a very old pavilion. So, if you ever fancy that game of tennis in a beautiful park, why not come to Lawn Parks in Sutton in Ashfield? As I go on my merry way, we are coming up to the changing rooms or the tennis courts. If it's like the one on Titchfield Park or the Meadows, depending on your age, it would have listed status. I believe some of the buildings on Titchfield are grade 1 and 2 listed buildings, as I believe that is probably grade 2 listed, looking at the design. So we're going to take a little U-turn just here, and we're going to go up the other path towards the cafeteria and the children's play area. I must say these roads within the grounds are probably some of the smoothest you'll find in Nottinghamshire. And just up those steps is Sutton Youth Club. So slowly approaching the cafeteria. It should be on our left. This is not the original building that once stood on the site. That had more of a 30s, 40s kind of structure. And it was where you would get your lollipops from and drinks whilst playing in the paddling pool on summer days. And here is the new children's play area. Very different from when I was that age. We had sand pits, big slides, paddling pools, something you stood on, you went spinning round in circles, a death slide, all kinds of things. There is the main car park at Lawn Pleasure Grounds and skate park on our left. Now we're coming up to the fun fair on our right, and also on our right is the pavilion for the bowling club. So we'll take a look at that, and if you're interested, call the number on the sign, which will appear in this video shortly. So the fair is in town. There's the waltzer, I can see. You can see dodgems, trains, fast food, and other rides that will be set up. Here we go. Here is the bowling pavilion, and I'll zoom in for you. So you can take the telephone number and information. Remember to press pause to get the information. So continuing on my way, as you can see, there's no through access anymore on Lawn Park, unlike it was when I was a youngster. And just here on my right is where I learnt to ride a bike. The first time I rode without stabilisers, with Dad holding the seat, and he let go. I was balancing, and as soon as I realised, I fell off. And the next time he let go, I managed to stay upright, and that was it. I had learnt to ride a bike without stabilisers. So some quite major childhood learning outcomes were achieved on these grounds. So as I start to head back towards Kingsmill Reservoir and on to the Barracuda in Mansfield to get my dinner, we'll say farewell to Sutton Lawns for this adventure of my mobility scooter adventures. Part 2, I will be exploring the Timberland Trail in Mansfield. That starts at Field Mill Pond and it goes up to Kingsmill Reservoir. There are 4 routes to pick from, and yeah, you'll need a day if you're going to explore this on foot. And the objective of my videos, as you know, are to find where we can get on scooters, report on accessibility problems, and if it's suitable for mobility scooter users. We discovered that Lawn Park has passed. I'll give it 9.5 out of 10 with a minus 0.5 just for that section of uneven path around the lake. So let's go back to Sutton Lawn and use the magic button and speed the video up. So yeah, happy memories of this road headed to the park, and it used to be very interesting with oncoming traffic having to try and get past each other, but cars were smaller in those days and it was still difficult. Back then this was one of the major roads before the A38 was built, and before the A38 was built you had to go on past B&Q, through Sutton, past Asda, go around the roundabout at the bus station, and it came out near the pub on the A38, and it would go on towards McArthur Glen, where there was a cut-through road for you to go back in the other direction. And on the grounds of McArthur Glen, that is where Winterbank Colliery was, otherwise known as South Normington Colliery. So just bear in mind that crossing is quite dangerous. As I say, it has no green man. and this is where you would enter the Kingsmill Reservoir back in the day before the A38 was built. Amazing to think today that you could drive down this road and drive around the reservoir. In my childhood, I have known the Kingsmill Reservoir to be totally frozen, and I have seen people ice skating on it in my lifetime, and that was in the 80s, when winters were winters and summers were summers. So back underneath the Maun route, and we're now back at Kingsmill Reservoir, and take a look at these signs. These directional signs tells you which way to go and what's around the facility. As we continue on round the rest, we'll soon be passing the cafeteria, the mill adventure park, and the new part they have built where if you're feeling very daring and energetic, you can pay a small fee and climb on the new apparatus. And I do believe on a Monday evening the youth service have a session here at the base Kingsmill Res. Fees do apply, but remember to check in advance to book your spot and to know what the fee is to bring. As you can see, very beautiful part of Mansfield and Ashfield, and a fantastic nature reserve. And if you're looking to the left of the picture, we can see some young children having a good time on the water. Compulsory life jacket and bouncy aids are compulsory to do the water sports via the mill adventure base. So just approaching the cafeteria, and there's the signs telling you which way to go to the adventure. And there's Kingsmill again on our left. Incidentally, Kingsmill have a pipe running from the hospital to Kingsmill Reservoir, which helps provide heating to the hospital. And the adventure is just on our right there. There is a little cafeteria there as well. Prices are displayed on the gate for drinks. So, the Robin Hood line is currently on my right, and in the next episode we'll explore what it's like going over the bridge and onto the Timberland Trail. And slowly heading back towards the Mansfield to Clipstone viaduct, the oldest in England. And yeah, strange to think that it was all straw, not steam powered. Here I come, and I'm going to take a left to go over the bridge. And yeah, let's just go in between these two lines of brakes and stay on the grey. You're in the middle of the railway line. And yeah, if you ever walk down here, comes out on Sheepbridge Lane, and a very nice part of Mansfield it is indeed. Remember, this is a private road, so don't take the cars off that road. So we continue down this road admiring the beautiful properties. And yeah, just to the left of that garage with the white door on is this cut through, and this comes out on Shade. So now we're back on Sutton Road after our adventure, and coming up on our right, this building here was one Sutton Road post office, closed in the 90s. There it is, Sutton Road post office, and now we're going around, and we've got this young couple over to about 11 o'clock. So do pay these public house a visit. I'm sure the landlord and landladies would very appreciate it. Remember to look left and right before crossing, and reaching my final destination, which is the Barracuda. In my opinion, this is the best fish and chip shop in the area. It has very nice food, very hot, staff are very friendly and helpful. And this has been open as long as I can remember. So I've known this to be a fish shop for well over 40 years. So do pay him a visit. The only times on Monday are 4 to 21:30, Tuesday to Thursday 11:30 to 2 o'clock, and in the evening. It is located on 107 Sutton Road, and the phone number, pause the video. It's got 5-star food hygiene. So this video was filmed on the 2nd of May 2025 and produced on the 26th of May. So that's it for this video, episode 1 of exploring the River Maun. So join me in episode 2 as I explored the Tinnerswood Trail and going down to Field Mill Pond. Have a great day, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing.